This is the Helene Klein Pineland Preserve, which has a cross-section of plant and wildlife. As we enter, you see it's mostly saw palmettos, which obviously we've talked about previously when we were at the relatively nearby, actually not relatively nearby, very nearby saw palmetto preserve. But this is Helene Klein is more known for its wet prairies and pineland areas, which we will get to during this walking tour. And again, like saw palmetto, like the Kristen Jacobs wildlife area, natural area, we are effectively on the border between Palm Beach and Broward counties. Some of the best preserved land in Broward County is all the way abutting the Palm Beach line, and Palm Beach in general has done a much better job than Broward or Miami-Dade at preserving their natural habitat. Not that they've done a great job. I think we have to be honest. South Florida has paved over paradise, really. And it's been the domain of both political parties to do that. It's a nonpartisan statement. If anything, contrary to general impressions of these sorts of things, the Democrats have probably been worse, at least in this part of the state. So you see some palm trees here, sable palms. There are the pine trees, the pine flatwood area. And by the way, we're not far from a church. This is a Sunday when we're recording this, so you can hear a sermon going over the loudspeaker. Wanted to focus in on these berry plants here. These are interesting vegetation that I've seen only in a few places in southern Florida. Take a look at them real closely. And again, a mixture of habitats here. We have a pine flatwood here, saw palmettos, as you can see, and we will be near a wet prairie in a minute, which should be wet. There's a butterfly. Let's see if we can focus on it. We lost it. This is Coconut Creek, which is the self-reputed butterfly capital of the world. So butterflies in abundance here. And again, some saw palmetto and pines. And as you have seen at some of the previous Broward parks, there's been an effort by the county commission recently to restore some of these habitats. So that's a positive. They've got bond money to do that. So the voters voted on it many years ago. Now this is interesting. In any pine flatwood, and I'm not sure if we've talked about this before, but there will be prescribed burns. There will be efforts to create fires and natural burns to preserve and protect the habitat. So now here's a canopy area. we're coming up on the wet prairie area, which is wet at certain times of the year and dry. We've had some rain recently, so hopefully there's some wet moisture. And you can notice actually the walkway is now elevated, which is because this is the wet prairie area. And the vegetation changes, right? More palm trees, more of these leafy plants than we had in other areas of this preserve. Here is a sable palm. There are a few tropical palms here too. Not sure if we'll see one, but I've definitely seen them on previous visits. Again, there's a sable palm. And it doesn't look so wet right now, the wet prairie. As I said, we've had some rain, maybe not enough. But there are times when this will be, the area below me will be quite moist. Similar to what we saw at the tall cypress natural area, which is in nearby Coral Springs. And this is new from my last visit, which was about 2 years ago. There is an open area here backing onto a residential street, which I have not seen before. So that's pretty significant. Here's some more of the vegetation in the wet prairie area. Again, very different than the area, other parts of this refuge. So here you are. These are the three different plant communities in here. The pine flatwoods, as we discussed, the marl prairie, and the cypress swamps. Okay, so that would be a cypress swamp. We've seen some of those, obviously, on previous videos. It's not so wet today as we've come out here. The marl prairie is also an interesting area. And in the marl prairies, you have this sort of kind of blue-green algae that forms. And that distinguishes it from the cypress swamps, in addition to the vegetation, the trees. And we're going to take you to the overlook of the entire refuge, which is about midway through the trail. We don't need to film the second half of the trail. It's very much returning through similar things to what we've seen already. But at the halfway point of your walk, if you come here, is this very scenic overlook, from which you can see all of these different habitats. Here are saw palmettos again. So you see saw palmettos there, you see pine flatwoods there, and as you make your way around, you will see the cypress swamp. However, as we've said now, it is dry, the wet prairie, and the wet prairie areas further back are dry as well. This is the Helene Klein Natural Preserve in northern Broward County. Thank you for watching.